Currently, there is a massive buying opportunity to be had in the Pokemon card singles market. We are seeing some of the cheapest prices on these cards that we've ever seen. I have some specific examples of that. And cheapest that we have seen in months for a lot of these cards. Now, it's not every card and every set across the board. There are some sets that are performing really well, and we're seeing cards rise in value, but there are some cards that are on fire sale right now, and we're going to dive into that in this video. And we're going to kind of break down my approach on if you're looking at picking up these cards, like kind of how I would handle it moving forward. Now, the first card that we're going to talk about is the Pikachu from Surging Sparks. Now, this card had held really well for a long time, and you can see it is down below into the $300 mark. You can see they have market price at $393 on TCG, but most recent sale, $340 for this card. And you can see the supply is starting to get up there, 166 copies. People are starting to rip more Surging Sparks. But as of this recording, Friday in the morning, there is a listing at 340. So looks like the current market price for this on TCG Player being $340. Now, the reason I bring this card up in particular is pre-release pricing was at 300, and this is one that shot up immediately. So we're gonna say, not many people bought at this pre-release low price. So we're gonna exclude this just for the sake of this video. And you can see it's pretty much was kind of at just under 500, and then it held in the 400s for a long time. This was since November here, right? And then it's declined, declined, declined. So this is the first time we've really seen it in the $300 mark. So 340. So this is a great buying opportunity. So the downside is, if you bought in this range, that is unfortunate because, you're going to be down. And that does suck for those who have. But this video is for those looking to pick up cards. So that's kind of the pros and cons with buying singles, right? Is you never know where these are exactly going to go from these prices. So that's why I try to avoid some of the singles when possible, as far as like new releases and stuff like that. But this is a great buying time. Now, this is kind of something we see happen every year, kind of around this time, kind of around summer. Maybe it's happening a little sooner. Market things are happening, but $340 is the lowest we've ever seen. And how I would approach this is looking at kind of how far they fall. I would just keep an eye on how far this card continues to drop in price. That is the lowest sales that we have seen pretty much on TCG Player right now, right? You can see 350s and actually 330 right here. So I would kind of keep an eye on it and just see how far it falls and try and time that bottom the best you can, because it's obviously not going to fall forever, but you want to keep an eye on it and just kind of time it. It's extremely difficult to time the absolute bottom. Keep in mind, like, you might see it start to come up a little. So, that is the difficulty of trying to time singles. But maybe this card free falls a little bit more down to like 300-ish. I don't know. No, that's the thing about singles, is nobody knows how far these are going to fall, but it is very interesting to see this at this price, because it was holding really steady for months and months. So, the Pikachu from Surging Sparks, if it's one of your top chase cards, great opportunity to buy. The Bubble Mew we've talked about recently, but it's doing a similar thing. You can see it's obviously down a lot, right? In the past month, down 10%. Down from over $400 down to 320. So you can see most recent sale at 325. There's even been a 295 sale on TCG Player, 308, 304. So pretty much down $300 to 300, which would be over $100 drop if that price continues to hold. Lowest listeds currently are around 315, 320 on TCG Player. So those other sales that are like a little bit below 300 or at 300, those are a little few and far between. Those seem like that probably would be a good price point. Like, this is a very popular card as well. You can see the supply, 164 copies available as well. So once again, keep an eye on the bottom. I don't know where it's going to be. Maybe it is 300, but there was an eBay sale that was interesting. Now, this is hard to time, right? Like, this was this one went to, I don't know if this went to auction or what this sale is, but it does seem abnormally low. $260. This was yesterday, April 3rd. So I'm going to say that, this is maybe an exception to the rule. This seems pretty low compared to where things are at, but it does happen. You can see obviously, you got a PSA 8 at 255. Um, uh, Here's another one at 310. And then obviously PSA 10 prices 850. You got a 9 at 320. So you can kind of see kind of where things are at for some recent sales. 315 on eBay as well. So between eBay and TCG, you should be able to, maybe hopefully get these at the cheapest in months. Because if you get it anywhere near, we'll use 325, the most recent sale right here, 325. It hasn't been 325 since January. So it's been months since we're now in April, since it's been at this price. Then you have another card like the Venusaur that is down quite a bit, right? So if you need this card for your 151 set, you can see most recent sale at $62. You can see a lot of quantity available, almost 300 copies. And that's what you can pick it up for. Low 60s right here with shipping, lowest listeds. So if we zoom out right here, you can see to get to $62. Even if we say we include this price at 65, this card hasn't been this affordable since November. So that is quite a while, right? And obviously it hasn't been like too much more expensive than that, really. Like it was in the 70s right here, but we're seeing some big lows on these cards comparatively that we haven't seen in months. So that I do think is important for being able to pick up some of these cards. I'm looking at this as buying opportunity, buying season. When things go down in price, big drops, you time the bottom, and that's when the best opportunities are to be had. Then we have the Umbreon. This is one we talked about recently. Recently, excuse me. The Prismatic Umbreon. This is the lowest we've ever seen. However, this one's already kind of bouncing back, so this one might very popular, so might be a little bit of the exception. But if you look on this chart, we were seeing 1600s, 1500s, and now most recent sale at 1350. This is low supply, so this card is a little bit different. But if you're looking at picking up this card, just maybe keep an eye on that. There has been a few. We got a 1300 sale a few days ago, a 1325, and a 1350. So that is quite a bit lower than 1500s here, and even in the 14. So something worth keeping an eye on. Lowest listed on TCGs around 1500. So this one might going to be a little bit tougher to snag at that cheaper price, but I did think it was worth mentioning that some sales have been going through at around 1300. Then you got the Charizard from 151. Now this one kind of seems like it's leveling off already, right? But you can see it's still down 15%. We're at 248, but most recent sale 228. You can see lowest listed right here, even lower. You can pick this card up for $230, lower than market. Sorry, right around this most recent sale price, 230. So the last time it's really been around 230, we'd have to go back to January. Early to mid January is kind of where the last time it's been at this price. So $230. This is the cheapest it's been in a while. So once again, keep an eye on the Charizard, a very, very popular card too as well. So we'll see. Obviously, this card has had crazy movement. A lot of these cards, you zoom out and the chart's going to look like this, up big numbers overall. So potential buying opportunity for the Charizard as well. This one has a lot more potential, I do think, the Eevee, because this one's dropped a lot. Now, this is a card that it looked like, not that long ago, it seemed like it was going to be $100 card. It just kept going up and up and up if we zoom out right here. And it did crack 100 in late January, early February. But before that, if we zoom out right here, obviously, it was 40s, 50s for a long time. So we're at $66 currently. Lowest listed on this is 62. You can pick this card up for $62 right now from a starred seller. That's the lowest listed. Two starred sellers, $62 and $63. You can pick up the Eevee, $62. It hasn't been $62 since right here in December. So a potential another great buying opportunity for the Eevee. There's just a lot of supply entering the market for a lot of these cards. 231 copies available. So if you're looking at picking up the Eevee, it's the cheapest it's been in a long time. Maybe it continues to drop. Like I said, you just keep an eye on it. and try and time it, you can see kind of where the sales have been at. There is one higher for a nice clean copy with photos. So if you're looking for a gradable, maybe potential PSA 10 copy, you might have to pay a little bit more. But in that $60 range, pretty regularly here for the English copy on the Eevee. Charizard from Paldean Fates. This one's dropped down to below 200. If this is one of the cards you've been looking at, 220 down to, we're seeing around 190. It's come up a tiny bit, so it may be uh, coming up, leveling off. But this one hasn't been around 190 since uh, mid-January. So it's been a few months now. So this is another card, might be a interesting price point for you. However, you can see right here, you can pick this up for 180, 176, and 180 with shipping here, which would be even below these most recent sales. So 180, which would be back here in closer to the beginning of January, price wise. So this one has come down quite a bit as well. Then you have the Greninja is kind of holding up, I think, fairly well overall. I'm not gonna lie. This has been, it has dropped obviously 400, 411 down to 370. However, most recent sale 350. And there's another 350 sale here, 350 sale here, but more of the sales have been kind of around 360, 370 on the Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. Lowest listed right now. You can pick this up for 350. There's a few copies at 350 and 360, which is just barely below current market and kind of a little bit right at that most recent sale. So it hasn't really gotten back to like January pricing of the lower 300s. So this one's, not as crazy of a buy, but the supply is a little bit lower on this one, only 90 copies compared to some of those ones that are starting to get up in supply. So the Greninja might be a good time to pick up as well. Potentially, I would just kind of see where things end up falling on all of these cards. I would probably wait just a little bit longer in hopes that they go down, but you're playing that, hoping that they go down more, right? But if they go up a little, then that's the risk that you take. The Charizard from Obsidian Flames wasn't really a very expensive card either, but you can see most recent sale in the 50s. It's now at $60. It's down quite a bit in the last month, 17%. If we zoom out right here, you can see, so $60. It hasn't been $60 since December, so it's been quite a while since we've seen this price point on this card. So becoming a lot more affordable. Once again, the supply is going up. We're seeing a lot more people listing these cards. So if you want to pick one up right now, that's where you're at. Pretty much $60 right here. There's lots of sellers at this price point. So Charizard from Obsidian Flames, if you're looking at picking this one up, very affordable. The Latias from Surging Sparks, buying opportunity again as well. Now this is one that I think it might dip down below 200. It's been if we zoom out right here and get a look at kind of what this card did. Pre-release pricing was 213. It came out and then it came out at like 185 right here, and it shot up to upper to mid 200s, and it's kind of was holding kind of like the Pikachu for a long time, since November, essentially holding at that price. And so now we're just seeing it finally dip down to that $200 mark, and there are some sales below 200, 195, 199. So just a few, right? Pretty much just this one, if I'm going to be honest. I'm going to round these other ones up. So one sale below 200, lowest listed currently, you're pretty much at 200. So I would keep an eye if you need this Latias for your collection. I'm probably going to wait and see if it drops down below 200, right? Say it comes back up a little to 210, 215. I wouldn't really be worried about it, right? You're paying a little bit more. But if it drops, so that's kind of the game you play, and that's kind of my approach. They're still dropped, like this card's dropped from its highs, right? We're at pretty much at its lowest point it's been realistically, unless you bought in this little tinier window right here. So it's pretty much the lowest it's been. So if you risk it coming up a little bit and it comes back up to here, that might be still a good entry point and might end up being a baseline for the card. So pretty much just wait a little bit longer, or once again, these are potential great entry points still, even with where we're at now, depending on if you want to snatch them up now. I wouldn't hold it against anyone who's looking to pick up some of those cards right now. That's just my approach. Is I would do the wait and see just a little bit longer on some of these. And then this one's interesting. This isn't like that crazy, but it's gained a lot of popularity recently. It's the Drowzee. If you want to pick up the Drowzee, which is one I was saying, hold off on. This is not a $90 card. It's at 34 bucks right now. So if you need this for your Scarlet Violet base, that's pretty much right where it was before it took off. 33, 34, right? 33 right here in February. So this card has just come back down exactly to pretty much where it was. I mean, back here, in January, it was a little higher, 35, 37, and then as low as 30. So maybe it drops a little bit more down to the 30. I don't know. Pretty lower 30 sales for the most part. Lowest listed for an English copy actually is you can pick it up for 31 bucks right now, which would be below these prices. So 31 bucks would be, you're back here in January for the Drowzee. So, you would have done well to have avoided buying at this spike right here. So yeah, this card came completely back down on the Drowzee. So it is a nice art card. It is a cool looking unique card, and now it is much more affordable. So buying season, I would say if you want to pick up the Drowzee, now's the time to go for it. Pick up the Drowzee. It's a great time to pick it up. I feel a lot more comfortable saying that around $30. Even if this card drops down into the upper 20s, it's not the biggest drop in the world that you're gonna see on a card. So go ahead, now is the time to buy the Drowzee. Open season on the Drowzee. And it's not every card, obviously. The Groudon, is holding up very well. This card did crack over $100 in February, but it has come down a little. And the reason I brought this one up was because most recent sale was actually around $85 right here. 85, you got 90 back here, 90, 90. These Japanese copies are on here, but 85, 90 bucks, and lowest listed for an English copy is right there, $86 right here. So, hasn't dropped as much as some of these other cards, but potential, you can see it's down a little bit, 5%. Keep an eye on this card as well. Obviously, this one's up very big over the year, $26 a year ago. So, supply pretty high on this one, but keep an eye on the Groudon. Not as crazy of an example. And then another card, last card to end it off on. I do think that this is probably at a very good point for the Gastly, but you can once again play it out if you want. See if you want to wait a little bit longer to pick up the Gastly. But the Gastly's dropped quite a bit. This is a really nice illustration rare. Down 22% just in the past month alone. Going from 55 down to 40, 43 here. Most recent sale at 39. And that's pretty much the lowest. We do have actually a 37 sale a few days ago on the 2nd. But 40s, low 40s, upper 30s is kind of what we're seeing. And as of this recording, lowest listed for an English copy is right around 40 bucks. So pretty good price to get the Gastly at 40 bucks. It hasn't been 40 bucks since January. So it's been a few months since it's been at this price. Obviously, this was around almost at 60 bucks back here in early March, late February, early March. So it's come down quite a bit. So this is another one where potentially great entry point, potentially could continue to drop. Well, if we see the supply continue to stay high or maybe even increase, we could see this card drop back down, to in that mid to lower 30s even. I mean, it hasn't been there since, you'd be looking at December pricing if it continues to drop. So that's something that is a potential as well. We'll have to just see and play it out. But a much better looking entry point on the Gastly. It is a nice illustration rare. So that's kind of how I view a lot of the singles that are falling in price right now and just things across the board. I think there's some great buying opportunities to be had. Like I said, I played a little more cautious, and I'll wait and try and time the absolute bottoms. Like I said, very difficult to do, right? You might get burnt a little, and they might start to rebound a little off of that. So that's the risk that you take. You would still be getting them at prices that are much cheaper than they were, not that long ago. So that's kind of my approach, where it's like, oh well, I didn't time the absolute bottom, but I did still do pretty well on it. So a lot of great cards. Now there's more cards than this in this video that are in the same category, and then there's tons of cards that are um, going up in value still. We're seeing a lot of that, obviously, from like prismatic evolutions. The other evolutions from the set are continuing to climb quite a bit. They're moving up in value a lot, and obviously that's an extremely popular set. So some of these other cards from some of these other less popular sets, it does make sense that they're kind of dropping right now as the market's kind of dipping a little bit. So some big buying opportunities. We'll see how long this effect lasts. If it really starts to continue to go into summer, buying, 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 buying. That this is when it's the best time to pick stuff up. When everyone is selling, you buy the dip. So yeah, we haven't really seen it happen too much with the sealed. There is some sets that are dipping a little bit when it comes to sealed, but across the board, sealed holding up better than the single side. So, but yeah, that I wanted to just talk about that, and I know it's like kind of something we talked about recently, but I wanted to just put a little bit different of spin on it because it's true, right? If you take your emotions out of it and you're not like too worried about everything just like dropping crazy, the whole market crashing to nothing, and you just go, okay, look at where these prices are. If people want to sell some of these cards that you need for your collection, then there are some good buying opportunities to be had. Specifically, like I said, that Pikachu card, which is not a card that I'm really wanting at personally at even at $300. It just doesn't call to me too much personally as a collector, but if you've been wanting that card in the $400 range, upper 400 $500 range, then this is starting to look at as a very enticing entry point, being mid to lower 300s. So big potential for people wanting a lot of these chase cards. The Bubble Mew obviously being a very popular one as well, that a lot of people want. And yeah, like that Venusaur too being very affordable. That's not the chase card of the set, but if you're working towards your filling out your 151 master set, or you just want to collect just like the big three or whatever it is from 151, that Venusaur's at a really good price, all things considered as well. So, but yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys are playing this. Are you just staying away from singles altogether? Are you gonna kind of continue to take my approach and wait and try and time absolute bottoms and just kind of like let this play out a little bit more before you pick some stuff up? Are you already snagging stuff left and right? Let me know what your guys' kind of approach is and what you've been targeting. And also, if there was any cards that because I can't touch on every single card that falls into this category in one video, but let me know if there's like another card that you're like, hey, you should have touched on this one because I think this is a very good entry point. So that's all I have for this one, guys. I appreciate your comments. I like seeing the comments. I've been getting full transparency. There's been a lot of comments because a lot of videos. I post a video every day, so there's a lot of comments. I'm not able to get to every single comment currently, but I really try to. I really try to at least read all of them, and I want to do better about getting back to you guys, but it's just been hard because there's been so many recently. So that's something I'm trying to do better about. But yeah, I still appreciate the comments, the back and forth. So hopefully, I do read most of them. So at least if you put a comment out, I'm at least seeing it. I just don't always have the time to respond to like every single one. So I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm rambling. We're going to end it right here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.